The history of LPSTube. Where did it come from? When did it start? In today's video, I'll be discussing that.
Who's got the newest pet? Littlest pet shop than you.
What's new at the new Littlest Pet Shop Clubhouse? Everything. All new pets in an all new place.
First, let's start with the LPS themselves.
Who has a pet shop full of little pets too?
All the way back in 1992, LPS were first introduced by a company called Kenner Toys. These toys were made to look somewhat realistic. Each set had an action activated by a magnet or other simple mechanism. These were known as the first generation of Littlest Pet Shop. YouTube wasn't a thing in the 90s, so this meant that there was still no LPSTube, but these toys are known by 90s kids.
Where in the LPS world do your pets want to play?
Cozy Care Adoption Center.
The beginning. In 1991, Hasbro bought Kenner Toys, but it wasn't until July 21st, 2003 that Hasbro filed for copyright of the Littlest Pet Shop trademark. And on February 18th, 2005, Hasbro introduced LPS to the world and gave them the LPS that we know and love today. Somewhat. During this era that we know as G2, Hasbro went for a more cutesy look with pets with bobbleheads and many accessories. I did a lot of research to try and find the very first LPS video, but I couldn't. However, a lot of videos started popping up around 2008, but there was no official LPSTube.
Sure, you can have one.
A lot of these videos were little kids recording on a camera with poor quality, playing with their LPS. There's not much to say about 2008 and 2009, but I started collecting LPS in 2009. I was around 5 years old and my mom had bought me my very first LPS because she thought I'd like them. And I definitely did like them considering I'm 18 and still collect them, but that's not what this video is about. I stumbled upon LPSTube, if I can even call it that, and it kind of influenced me to collect more and see what other people were doing with their collection.
Thank you, everybody, for my presenting.
Your Littlest Pet Shop pets want to go.
Road trip! It's the paw-powered cruiser! And the hamsters at the wheel!
The rise. In 2010, LPSTube began growing and many people began to create their own series. We got so many iconic videos in this era. These videos definitely defined my childhood. When researching, I even got a little bit emotional because I was watching videos that I hadn't even watched in 10 years. Anyways, we started seeing a rise in music videos, series, and the most iconic series to date, LPS Popular, came out around this time. I actually have a video on LPS Popular, so if you want to check that out, please do. Anyways, LPS Popular episode 1 was literally made on my 6th birthday, which is wild to think about. I'd say this is when LPSTube began its peak. Everyone was filled with inspiration and such creativity, and it's funny because most of us were children, but we had such amazing ideas.
Slide in that lagoon. Get ready, get up and move. Dance around, dance all around.
The Crisis Part 1. So in 2012, Hasbro decided that they would change designs of the LPS and begin a new generation now known as Gen 3. These designs looked cheaper. The eyes were now creepier and the heads would no longer bobble. Of course, as a child, if your favorite toy brand is revamping the designs and they look nothing like what you collect, it's gonna make some children angry.
But I don't like, the mouse is kind of ugly.
I was one of those kids that literally called Hasbro and was like, bro, what are you doing? I don't even understand why they did this. The LPS brand was thriving and LPS videos would gain a lot of traction. Anyways, what did this mean for the LPSTube community? Well, people just complained about how they hated the new LPS and wanted the old ones back. Some stores had the old LPS, but a lot of them, in the UK at least, were selling new LPS. Because of this, we got a lot of videos like these ones.
Hey guys, it's me, Rainbow Leopard 315. For some of you, I'm sure a lot of you like Hasbro for these things. These epic My Little Ponies.
It's a little funny, but it's also a bit sad when you think about it. People were still making normal type of content with their series and music videos, but always with the G2 LPS. I completely forgot they also made a series to accompany the G3 LPS, which I'm not gonna lie, I used to watch, but I still hated Generation 3 LPS. I might be wrong, so please do correct me if I am wrong, but I think the first ever LPSTube day was in 2014. So I don't actually know the complete origin of LPSTube Day, but I think Populover 863 hosts them every single year, and every May 10th it is LPSTube Day. So it's a day where we celebrate LPSTube, which is so great, and I did try and get this video out for LPSTube Day, I swear. Anyways, it's a day where we take videos from LPSTube and we see, which ones are the most popular, and we get to vote for LPS tubers, for LPS videos. It's just really a day where we celebrate the creativity that's been put into this community. This era of LPS lasted up until 2016, which leads us to our next segment.
Rainbow Collection. New super cute, teensy, classic, and mini scale pets.
The fall. LPSTube has existed for many years, but not without its triumphs. I'd say in 2016, it was becoming stale. The same cliche series and content that we'd seen before. This is around the time that I was becoming uninterested in LPS. The Generation 2 LPS hadn't been in stores for a while, so I pretty much stopped collecting at this point. 2017 is also the year that Hasbro decides it's time for another new era after the disaster that was G3. They completely changed the logo, as well as gave the pets big cute eyes again and bobbly heads. Now some people liked this look, but more people preferred the older G2 look. I also preferred the older G2 look, but there's no shame about liking G3. Anyways, LPSTube was kind of at a standstill. Now I don't know too much about 2017-18 because I wasn't really in the community at the time, so if you were in the community at the time, please do let me know in the comments what it was like. LPS videos were still popular, but not as popular as they used to be. This could just be a case of many people getting burned out or growing up out of LPS, but I don't know.
The party is about to set sail! New Littlest Pet Shop cruise ship. Comes with 3 pets. Other pets each sold separately. Adult assembly required.
Crisis Part 2. If you know anything about LPSTube, you know about copper. Unfortunately, this is what I think impacted LPSTube the most. Comments constantly getting turned off, lockdown getting to people, many things. I think by 2020, a lot of LPS videos had really good quality and stories, but copper got in the way of those things, and those videos ended up gaining less traction. This is where a lot of bigger LPS channels called it quits, and a lot of people followed. Not to mention, even the leading series of LPSTube, LPS Popular, was put on hold. Technically, that was in 2019. This is still an issue LPS tubers today are working around, but luckily there are ways to get around it. By this point, the only way of buying G2 LPS is through secondhand. Fake LPS have always been around, but because G2 were pretty much never in stores at this point, a lot of fakes were made and still are being produced. Now, some LPS tubers don't mind filming with fakes. Authentic LPS can be pricey, so I do understand that, but personally I prefer buying authentic LPS from secondhand. LPSTube is still going on to this day, surviving through copper and COVID.
Dizziest, littlest pets, the littlest pet shop, that's who. Just got the twirlingest, whirlingest playground yet. The littlest pet shop and you.
The present day. Today, there are still so many LPS tubers creating their own stories, making films, music videos, and so much more. It's crazy to think about how much the quality of videos has improved and how amazing some stories can be. It makes me so happy that I literally witnessed this community grow into what it is. There are so many amazing artists, editors, storytellers, the list goes on. LPSTube is not dead, and it still continues to produce innovative, creative stories nevertheless. Thank you so much for watching, and I once again apologize for not getting this video out in time for LPSTube Day. I love you all, don't forget to subscribe.